Hey guys, going to your boy M.K.S here, back in another video. I know I always start with pretty much the same intro. I will say it's your boy M.K.S and all that kind of thing. But anyway, I hope everyone's well wherever you are. To be honest, recently I've been going through a bit of depression. To be absolutely honest, I'm afraid to say, and I've been feeling a bit negative and also a bit guilty about a few things. Like, for instance, on Facebook, writing negative posts because of the way I'm quite an honest person. So when I feel a bit negative or very negative, I kind of write it. So I probably shouldn't write on Facebook when I'm going through an existential crisis, even to be honest. And I was even thinking like just giving up trying anything really. But obviously there's nothing. Part of me was thinking everything seems to waste. So I suppose a lot of religious people will say everything in the world will go to waste or will come to an end at some point. But obviously, say I'm thinking from a Christian point of view, they would say that that's why you should seek the kingdom of heaven or that. But to me, it feels a bit boring because I'm not a big fan of the rule. If I can say it like no so-called fornication or no sex outside marriage or stuff like that. So it's a bit of a dilemma for me because I suppose they say that you shouldn't seek worldly things or worldly possessions or what people think about you or anything like that, but you should seek heaven or whatever. But to me, heaven feels a bit boring. So it feels like everything's a bit of a waste and it's a bit of a waste of time. And the reason why really is that triggered my depression recently is with my hoarding. I have this terrible habit of wanting to have receipts, envelopes, refill pads, papers, notebooks, or all sorts of things like pretty much everywhere, like anywhere where I would have permission to have it. And part of me can't control. One part of my brain tells me that I would love to have notebooks like literally everywhere. So obviously that would get in other people's way as well, and it'd probably get in my own way eventually. But yeah, and also you might say, how would you be able to write on them? How would you be able to enjoy them and things like that? And what's the point if you don't have anything like end goals towards those sort of things? But every time I come up with an idea and all that kind of thing, I like to write in notebooks. And I used to collect them and then be like, one day I'll think of an idea, and as it comes to me, I'll just write in them and things like that. So I didn't really have an organizational system and stuff like that. So a lot of them were in like the garden in my house, and my mum threw them away and shredded some of them and put them in recycling and tore some up and all sorts of things. And that's happened quite a few times. I sort of feel let down because I prayed and I said, I know it's a bit of a harsh prayer, but I sort of said, anyone who tries to touch any of my notebooks or anything of mine, I want them to like fall down and injure themselves just enough to put them off from doing so again. I know it's a bit harsh, but not to injure themselves too much, but like just to prevent them from doing so again. So I wanted God to do whatever he could to protect my paperwork and stuff like that. So I felt a bit betrayed and let down. Like it's happened a few times, and I was saying to myself things like having an existential crisis and saying like, I wonder if anything's actually worth doing, if it's going to just come to an end or be destroyed anyway. So I hope that made sense, and I hope it didn't seem like too much of a rant. But yeah, one of the things I was feeling guilty about is like maybe I'm overreacting in terms of getting frustrated about things, because I suppose if I lived in any other house, I suppose most parents would probably do the same, because to be honest, I do have a lot of stuff, and obviously it's in the garden or that, or it was in the garden and things like that. So although I did agree to give them to charity, like some of them with my ideas on them, if anyone could decipher my handwriting and punctuation and stuff like that. So once I wanted to go through them myself and decide what to do with them, but because we got relatives coming and things like guests coming and whatever, and things have to be worked on. Anyway, I'm going off topic, I know, but yeah, I just thought I'd mention that point because I know I like to keep people updated and talk honestly. But yeah, as I say, to be honest, I've been going through an existential crisis and sort of a depressive crisis and anxious and feeling guilty and losing my faith and my faith being tested and that sort of things, thinking like God's going against me and stuff like that, rightly or wrongly, hopefully the latter. So sorry if that was a long intro, but I thought I'd cover that topic in as much detail as I could think of. And as ever, I'd love to hear what you think about that as well, and all my ideas. Like, do you think I'm overreacting, or do you think I have a right to be like at least a bit disappointed. Like, one, that God didn't answer my prayers, if you like, and two, that answer a call that like my mum and her ex-boyfriend went through my stuff without my permission, which I've already agreed to give to charity and things like that, and knowing that I don't like people reading my stuff unless I have given them permission, and things like that. Anyway, this video is going to be really long, so apologies for the long intro. I just thought I'd cover some of those sorts of thoughts and feelings at the moment, and make an apology to anyone who possibly sees from like my Facebook for my negative posts and existential crisis. I know I keep going through these as well. I kind of keep posting stuff like that. So, oh my goodness, this video's intro is taking quite long. But anyway, I'm going to crack on with my list of ideas. So here goes. So as I say, this is continuing on from parts 1 and 2. So please check them out if you haven't already done so. And I'd love to hear what you think about my intro and each point I come up with. And again, apologies if the intro is too long and or if I'm acting like a spoiled brat or immaturely or overreacting to things or whatever, and for any negative thoughts or feelings or posts or whatever. So here goes. So number 21, as I say, recapping some of my dreams for Asia and what I was talking about before. Like, I would love to encourage Asia to unite as much as possible. Now, that's probably another pipe dream of mine, but I definitely hope to promote that idea as much as possible and encourage other people to do so as well, and to bring Pan-Asianists together and that sort of thing. And also celebrate the history of Asia and have like monuments and museums and stuff like that celebrate that history and like celebrate and support those sorts of things. Number 22. Trying to remember my train of thought as well. Another thing I'd love to improve on is my memory because I keep forgetting things. But yeah, so. Number 22, I also dream like for Asian, including in India, China, and the rest of Asia, the politicians, political leaders, business people generally, and as many people as possible, people from different religions and religious leaders and spiritual leaders, and mystic leaders and mystics from places like India and again the rest of Asia, especially in India, but in Asia generally, to call for unity and people coming together. Like in India, for instance, there's a lot of division between like Muslims and Hindus or Sikhs or other groups, and I think it'd be great to see like even like Asian, Muslim or Hindu and Sikh and other such religious celebrities and leaders and people who are inspirers of other people coming out to sort of say that to talk about unity rather than division. And as I say, I think that's another thing about my hoarding. I can't stand waste of things. I can't stand when things go to waste, whether that's ideas or like buildings that are being destroyed and having to be rebuilt or things like that. That's why I'm so picky about papers, like not being ripped or torn or burnt or damaged. I've given my any potential enemies out there sort of my kryptonite there. But yeah, I'm not saying I'm Superman or anything. But anyway, sorry. But yeah, I think it'd be great if instead people across Asia built things and were told like, if you build and you don't destroy things, then you're going to have better things for yourself and your community, as well as the other communities as well. So it's better for Muslims, Hindus, Christians, Buddhists, atheists, and other religious groups as well, Sikhs, to come together and build things and grow things and like work together in business and build and have buildings that represent unity and encourage entrepreneurship and things like that across Asia. Again, in Malaysia, India, Indonesia, Singapore, and the rest of Asia. I think it would be great to have those sorts of things. Number 23. On that note, again, I would love to encourage unity and also promote tackle poverty and talk about supporting some of the poorest people like the dalits of India, my fellow dyslexic people with ADHD and other such problems and issues across India and Asia generally, and again some of the poorest people, and supporting women and disabled people, physically, mentally and stroke or learning disabled people. Number 24, I hope there'll be many Pan-Asianist movements. As I mentioned in parts 1 and 2, I would love them mainly to be in Central Asia, like strategically and symbolically, but they could be across Asia. But I hope the main events, or the majority of events rather, would be in Central Asian countries, Central Asian nations, and also that the people who there could be like an Asian Union or Asian Alliance, or whatever. As I mentioned again in parts 1 and 2, I think, or in previous videos anyway. Due to my alliterations, I love to say Asian Alliance, but it could be like a union as well, a network, and things like that, which encourage Pan-Asianism, and also anti-imperialists could support Asia as a form of reparations as well. And number 25, I hope to encourage republicanism, and again, Asian nations to host republican events and look at what they have in common. Look at what they have in common with African nations, including being republics and the fact that they're colonized. Number 26, again, I would love for former colonies and to network together, and also anti-imperialists, people of color, and that sort of thing, to support Asia as much as possible, and to promote Asian entrepreneurs, Asian businesses. Maybe Asian nations could also have anti-imperial buildings, if I can speak properly, which would be places where they look at how they can make up for their history and work together. And again, remembering my train of thought, just have anti-imperialist events and groups, and look at how they can work with Africa and other countries that are colonized, or continents that are colonized, or countries that are colonized, like Ireland, and that sort of thing. Number 27, I hope that Asian nations will also have like a list of maybe like a Walk of Fame, Hall of Fame, and Wall of Fame, at least one of those things, possibly all three, or two or three of them, where they look at like who has contributed to Asia in terms of, like, say, for instance, unity or business or things like, or honouring Asian entrepreneurs, or raising the profile of Asian businesses and entrepreneurs, like at the Adani Group or Tata or Alliance Industries and that sort of thing. And by the way, thanks for the like, if you're still watching, I appreciate it. And sorry, because I don't want the video to go too long, and I wanted to cover the ideas. That's why I didn't say thanks at the time. Acknowledging on that note people who have contributed to Asia in some way, as I say, either promoting unity or businesses or things like that, and maybe people who have supported businesses or jobs or growth or the economy or security and things like that, security and defence, keeping citizens safe. There could be like surveillance to prevent potential invasions or terrorism or things like that. 28, also, I think, like, another point I know I've mentioned before, but I would love to see disputed territories, like between China and India, possibly even India and Pakistan if it was possible, or all different countries across Asia. Those disputed territories, the Asian Union could also like talk about how to instead of those areas dividing people in across Asia, they could actually unite. They could be used as a place of networking. So I know I've mentioned that point before, so please forgive me for repeating myself again, but I think it's worth repeating and like just remind myself and others of that idea. But I think it'd be great if the Asian Union, Alliance, Network, or whatever, as an organization, could have lots of different nicknames and whatever, but it could, most importantly, I think, do stuff like have conflict resolution and talk about how those divided areas could be used actually to network. So between disputed territories between China and India, as I say, could be used instead to network, and also that could be replicated across Asia. Obviously, if it does well in one area, it could be replicated into other areas, so they can continue to learn and grow and things like that. Number 29, I hope for my fellow Eurasians and other part Asians or mixed race people generally, even to support Asia, especially Malaysia, India, Indonesia, and Singapore, and to talk about reasons. As I say, I've probably mentioned this before, but I'd love to see reasons. I was thinking of making a video of like reasons to support Malaysia, India, Indonesia, and Singapore. Like from Eurasians' point of view, I think they have looked after us quite well in the past. And number 30, again, sorry if the intro was a bit long and a bit negative as well, but as ever, I'd love to hear what you think and what you think would be best for Asia going forward, and which could empower Asia, like including through unity and things like that. And peace and love, and I'm out.